There, now I can see you properly. Oh, these hurt my ears. Hello. What do you think of these? Got new glasses. They kind of hurt my ears. Had to upgrade my prescription. Okay, we don't need that anymore. So in this video, I am going to be showing you how I made this quick peek Reformation green. Well, it's not a Reformation dress, I made it. It's DIY, obviously. But I basically copied Reformation and I made a DIY. I sewed a cutout dress. So if you want to see how I did that, and I'll show you how you can do that, and perhaps maybe how you can avoid all the mistakes that I make. Send me some support for the trouble I had to go through. So this dress I actually made for my sister for her birthday. I don't know why I signed up for that. I don't know why I did that. I don't usually make things for other people because I just can't deal with that responsibility. No. Is anyone else like that? I just can't. But I did. And it was a little stressful, there was a little bit of frustration, there was a few fights with the overlocker. Not this machine, I didn't use that one there, I used my brother FS101. If you have one of those, let me know what you think of it. I just got it. But I'm just going to do a little quick talking section that maybe I can include in the video. So this ribbed knit fabric I got from Spotlight. It's very stretchy and it was a bit of a pain to work with, not gonna lie. It did curl a lot or stretch. My overlocker stretched it enough. So I'll first start out by saying a few tips if you want to work with this fabric. Probably still have the pain, but just, little tips, from me, from all the things I effed up. So if you have an overlocker, lower the differential feed to as low as you can go, honestly. Do some scrap testing. If you don't have an overlocker, consider a walking foot. Honestly, I just got one. I used to have one for my Singer machine, but it did not fit the Brother machine, so I had to invest in this little thing. I just got this after that. It was like $50, so it hurt my bank account a fair bit. Honestly, do your best you can. I tried my best, but another tip for when you're sewing, like even just a knit fabric, is sometimes when you put it through the sewing machine, when you're feeding it through, you'll tend to just slightly accidentally stretch it as you're pulling it through, because you put your fingers sort of like on it. So as best as you can, try not to do that. But this fabric, like I didn't have a walking foot, but I tried the best I can with everything I could, and I still got some curling, some stretching, which really annoys me and I really don't like it. But my sister was like, being someone who doesn't sew at all, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's awful, it's awful. Also, I stabilized some of the seams. So let's get into it. So what you're going to need is your pattern pieces, your 1.5 to 2 meters of a ribbed fabric, the matching thread. You're going to need some scissors for the paper and also for the fabric, pins, elastic, probably shear, lots and lots of patience, an overlocker, or a machine that does a stretch stitch or just a zigzag stitch sewing machine. So for the pattern, you're going to need a front, a back, and you're going to need 2 sleeve pieces. So the front and back cut on the fold. So I actually used a pattern by Seamwork magazine. I think it was called the knee. I'll put it on the screen. I wouldn't suggest using that pattern because I actually murdered that pattern quite a bit, because it is actually a lot looser fit than it seems. So what I would suggest doing is getting a dress that you already own that is a bodycon dress. It has to be made out of a knit material, folding it in half and laying it on the edge of the fabric. against the fold, and you've got to trace the front and the back. If you're a little bit not sure on how to trace a dress pattern or how to clone clothing, I'll leave heaps of videos. There's so many people have made videos on it, so that's why I'm not making that on it. Don't forget to allow for seam allowance, so maybe you want to do 1 centimeter. Hello, this is about the 15th time I'm recording this voiceover. So here we go. So sew the shoulder seams. I also recommend stabilizing them with an elastic or maybe a ribbon, which basically just means you sew them on the side seam so that it doesn't stretch out. Moved on to the sleeve. It's very simple. If you've ever sewn a t-shirt before, it's the same method, just right sides together, and I sewed with a 1 centimeter seam. Then I did those side seams in the same way. You can see there's a bit of curling, and this is the point where my overlocker was being evil. I did bring it in quite a lot, as you can see the way I've drawn it, because for the cutout you're going to need it to be very fitted on your body so it doesn't gape everywhere. I did adjust those little stretches later, but right now I marked the hole on her because it's much easier to know where you want it if you just draw it on. So you can see here what I was mentioning. I was having a little bit of issues, a bit too much fabric in the armholes, a bit of stretching on the side seams. I should have stabilized them earlier, so I recommend you do yourself. Then I used villain to make a circle, and I sewed that before I cut anything out because I didn't want anything to stretch and I was panicking at that point. So you do what you can with the tools you've got. So after I did that, I folded it inwards and I pinned and I ironed, and I did this for quite a while. It's not the perfect job ever, but I really was trying to make it not stretch out. So after I pinned that and whatnot, I sewed it, but I did remove that white villain stuff. Yeah, villain stuff, that's what it should be called. And by ripping it off later, because it's annoying, but it just helps so that when I sewed it, it didn't crazily stretch out. You can see it's a bit of a fiddly process to fold this onto the inside. I wouldn't recommend folding it in too much because it's quite hard because it's a circle. Yeah, so then I sewed a top stitch on that, and I also underneath I sewed a big wide zigzag stitch, and I inserted an elastic around the edges to stop it from gaping and holding its shape a bit better, which seemed to work for me. Then I hemmed the sleeves, but I regret it because I'm not sure if you can see the stress in my face there and the concentration, but I was trying my best not to stretch it, but I still clearly did, which was very annoying. For the hem of the bottom, I just left it raw because it is a jersey, and it was quite short on her, but that's how she wanted it, so that's what we did.